Right there.
19 Investigates has obtained dash cam footage from a reliable source. Here's a look at the incident in question. Pay close attention to the left side of your screen. Our source claims a lieutenant clocked this van for speeding. You see the cruiser make a U-turn and give chase. The only thing is, the van we spotted in the beginning is nowhere to be seen in the rest of this dash cam footage. Still, without the van noticeably in sight, the officer continues the pursuit. And eventually, after making several turns, the officer approaches a home and finds that van parked out front. According to the footage, he's the first officer to arrive at the scene. And he seems to know exactly who's behind the wheel, because during the encounter, he calls him by his first name.
Frank!
Who is it?
Frank, don't be stupid!
Backup arrives, and the officers order the man to the ground as they approach. Then, watch what happens next.
Get on the ground right now.
I ain't getting on the ground.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Taser, taser, taser!
An officer tases the man not even 10 seconds after he exited the van, while his hands were in the air.
Get on the ground! Taser, taser, taser!
Joseph.
Yes, sir.
Remember back in the day when we arrested people without tasering them?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand anymore why the go-to is to taser someone, like in this case with this officer arresting this suspect who's not punching, kicking, hitting, spitting, or nothing. He's just holding his hands out and not getting on the ground, probably because it's frozen, you know, and he doesn't want to slide on the ice of the road. So he says, I don't know. I mean, like, because there were 1,000 times we arrested homeless people who did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
In the summertime in Houston, because they didn't want to get down on the concrete, and we didn't tase them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we didn't have tasers.
Oh, there's something.
And we just arrested them.
You remember when we used to go to calls on horses? I don't, but they used to. You know that? They used to. And then they'd stop at the latrine outside the outhouse. They don't have those anymore, do they? We've progressed a little bit. Remember when we used to do handwrite reports? Well, they don't do that anymore. Now we have tools like computers and cars and MDTs and tasers. I'm not a big fan of the taser myself. I think it, and I know it only works about 17% of the time. Okay, the rest of the time, you have to actually do something else. And the thing of it is, a taser is the exact same force as putting your hands on people. It's intermediate, like it or not. That's what it is.
Well,
it's intermediate force.
Okay.
Okay. So, I would rather, if I were the chief, okay, rather you, instead of you, I mean, what happened to several people you and I put our hands on? I remember a couple of ambulances being called. Okay. Now, we didn't do anything wrong. It's just what happens when you put your hands on people.
Yeah, but you can
also, the officers can get hurt too.
You can taser people and they crack their skull on the pavement when they fall.
But you didn't crack their skull, did you?
Yeah, well, you did with the taser. I mean,
no, the taser did it, not me. I was told how to use it. Right?
I don't have a hard time with the fact that everybody wants to resort to tasering someone as opposed to, because for me it's the thing that
it's
for me it's the same as hitting somebody with a nightstick. It's not the same thing as putting hands.
Exactly, intermediate.
Right. So
which is exactly the same thing as putting a pinky on somebody.
Okay, so no, I don't think I disagree.
Well, it's not for you and me. That's how the intermediate system works. That's how the classification of weapons works. That's it.
Well, I think it's the imputation of bodily injury or serious bodily injury that matters. In other words,
well, it might. You
can arrest someone without causing bodily injury.
Yes, but intermediate, putting a pinky on somebody is intermediate. Tasing them is intermediate. The way police work is set up right now, the way use of force.
That's foolishness if that's how they're defining it.
Well, how else would you define it?
Because putting someone in a wrist lock, handcuffing
causing them pain?
Yeah.
In a wrist lock?
I know that's bodily injury by
there you go.
Penal code definition, but it's not bodily injury likely to lead to serious bodily injury.
Neither is tasing, right?
Well, no, unless you crack your head on the pavement, like this guy's head bounces
what if
off
you
the pavement.
Put somebody in a wrist lock and they fall down and crack their head in the pavement? Then who gets blamed? You.
Well,
definitely.
Don't you still get blamed if you use the taser?
Well, and yes, in blue states and blue cities, okay, where it's a minority suspect and a white cop. Yes, every time, but
I think it's
you
really
can't.
It is possible to become too dependent on technology.
Yes, we tase way too people. There's three things that the cops do: show up and shout, beg and plead, okay, or they tase or they shoot. That's what it's become. Now, are there times to use a taser? Yes, there certainly are. And this lieutenant was spot on perfect when to use a taser.
Let me ask. Okay, do they teach people how to fight in the academy anymore? Sure,
they teach defensive tactics about as well as what it is now. Okay, when people like Jay Hartnett and Moose and Jinx were there. Yes, they taught people to fight.
Yeah, well, before Class 150, and I think they're up to 270 now.
Yeah, I don't know what they teach. I have no idea what they teach now. I mean,
they punched you in the face. They learned that you learned how to take a punch to the face.
Yeah,
we don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I know. I don't. Well, they do. They did Red Man when I was there at the academy.
Right.
They were doing Red Man,
but they didn't punch you in the face with the Red Man.
No, I don't think they. I'm not sure.
They did not. I know because
my nose got broken in Red Man.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, by the guy you called Chief.
Was it Barker?
Yeah. I didn't say your name, Steve.
But we don't do that anymore, though. We don't teach cadets how to fight. In my opinion, just from what I've observed.
No, they don't. They don't teach them how to fall. They don't teach them how to fight.
They need to.
Well, they teach them how to do what? De-escalate.
Well, true.
And that's all they teach is I'm saying that's not true. I don't know if that's true or not. I have no idea what they teach. I do know that the defensive tactics.
This is why I say that, because what happens if the taser fails?
Like it always does.
You can't just shoot.
You have to put hands on somebody.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, they didn't in this case. So we're talking about this case, right?
Yes.
Okay. This case, spot on, perfect, Lieutenant.
I disagree. I think you should have handcuffed him and locked him up like we learned in the academy. And either if you have to take him to the ground, fine, but you don't always have to take people to the ground either.
Well, people that you have just pursued.
Well,
why do we treat people?
But he wasn't pursuing him.
He did too pursue him. No, he turned around. The pursuit may be over.
But the suspect he was following did not realize he was being chased.
How do you know that?
Come on.
He turned around. Come on. That's what I mean. Come on. What? What's your evidence, counselor?
Because he doesn't appear anywhere in front of the patrol vehicle at any time.
Yeah, I think that would be what I would call a clue that he was going very fast.
But when he says he's speeding, he's already behind another vehicle in traffic. So by definition, the vehicle in front of him would have had to have been going the same speed.
What? The lieutenant saw I saw the video.
Yes.
Okay, the lieutenant observed this vehicle speeding.
Yes.
And he knew who he was. He knew his first name.
Yes.
And he turned around and he turned around on the guy and immediately
knew where he lived.
Immediately turned around.
Yes.
Now, there's a good chance maybe the lieutenant didn't drive fast, but it's still a pursuit. And the guy knew that the cop wanted him to stop when he turned around, put his lights on. He evaded him. Why did he get out of his car doing this?
Because
that stupid look on his face that you've seen a million times.
Because they probably have a history between the two of them.
Well, I don't know that.
Well, that's why he knew his first name.
Well, he lives in that same town. That's just called good police work, sir. That's called good police work. Seeing that suspect, and that's old Jay Jones' son right there. I know where he lived. Okay. So he didn't drive fast, maybe.
My first inclination.
And then he drove up and he's told him how many times he told him to get on the ground? Several times. And what did he not do? Get on the ground? Because he didn't want to. What was it? That was a feeble excuse you just used. It was cold. Oh my God. Okay. How hot would it have been if you and I had been there? We'd have put him on the ground, wouldn't we?
Yes.
Okay. So he's going on the ground. Wouldn't you? I'd rather get on the ground myself. That lieutenant was perfect. Now, I don't know if that lieutenant is a POS. He may getting effed off. It's getting what we call HBD karma, where he effed off people for 20 years in his career, and now he's getting effed off for something that he did perfectly well.
Yeah.
Okay, that could be happening. I don't know. Maybe he's the best lieutenant on the face of the planet. I don't know. I don't know what kind of shape the lieutenant was in, I don't know what his cardio was. I don't know if he was older, if he had a bad back, if this guy was known to fight, how old the other guy was. Maybe that officer knew, that lieutenant knew something we don't. But I do know what he didn't do. Get on the ground. If he'd have got on the ground, he wouldn't have got tased.
Well, I still think that we've grown too reliant on tasers.
Clearly.
And I think this is an example of that.
This is an example of perfect tasing.
Okay.
The only time it's one of the few times I've seen that's perfect. How much better does it get?
Well, the guy's not trying to run away. Neither is he trying to charge at the officer.
He just evaded in a vehicle.
He
did. What do you call it then?
Because there's no chase.
What do you mean? Because you're like the guy for that sergeant major that teaches active shooter who said, we got 3 kidnappings right there. That's not a kidnapping. I'm like, no, a kidnapping doesn't mean that you've got a body buried or a live person buried in a grave with 8 hours of air and there's 10 clues, each more diabolical than the next, and you got to find him. No, kidnapping is not letting people leave.
I get it.
A chase doesn't have to have lights and siren and be, cinematic worthy. It was a chase because the guy knew he wanted him to stop, and he decided the bad guy knew he wanted him to stop, and he didn't. He knew the police officer wanted him to stop, and he didn't. Instead, he drove home, like home base. How many criminals have you seen do that? I've seen dozens. They driving all through this neighborhood, and they pull up in their driveway, and they're like, "Ha, King's X, I'm at home."
Yeah, isn't that the safe zone?
Yeah, then they get smacked. Now they just get tased.
No, I get it, but I'm not going to give up on the fact that I think that officers need to be taught how to fight.
Sure.
That they need to be taught that there's sometimes you need to fight.
Yes.
Okay. And this idea that you should always rely on your taser first, because it just seems like the go-to maneuver, is sometimes harmful, especially if the taser fails.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which it does a lot.
Okay. And then when you've already got it out, right, and it's not working, well, now it becomes a distraction rather than a tool. It becomes something that has to be dealt with versus helping you.
Well, like in the shooting, the HPD shooting, where the officers got all their jobs back. I forget the guy's name.
Yeah.
But the taser, he was able to get it and turn it into a weapon, which got him killed.
Right.
Yes. Now, none of those officers were wrong. The guy was wrong. Just like in this case, the lieutenant wasn't wrong. The guy was wrong. Okay. And I have no idea. And if you were the chief,
mm-hmm.
would you rather have officers for a straight liability, to not have any boat rocking, right? Not have any waves created, or as little waves as possible? I don't mean you're not willing to let officers put their hands on people. What would you rather do? Have somebody put their hands on somebody and fight them, and the officer gets hurt and injured, or they injure the guy, or they're losing and they have to kill the guy? Or would you rather them go to the taser, which is paid for by Taser? I mean, they have to go to court and defend it themselves.
Well, no, that's only if the taser itself causes an injury, not the officer's use of the taser. That'd be like
exactly. But that's what I mean.
Using a nightstick, the nightstick manufacturer doesn't necessarily get sued because the officer used a nightstick to hit someone.
Well, it's electronic. The taser does come and testify in court defending their product. They have many, many times.
Okay, because
they say it causes heart attacks, which it probably doesn't. Okay, because there's people who have been tased.
Just like the COVID shot is safe and effective.
Well, no, I mean, they probably even less. But
I doubt there's enough science in existence because there's not a large enough pool of test subjects with the taser.
Well, there's quite a large pool, and almost every one of them died from cocaine rather than the tasing. Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, we'll kill most of them. They were who died after he was tased. Yeah. That gave him a heart attack because it hurt real bad and you're already on coke. Okay, and your adrenaline. If he hadn't tased him, would he have died? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But in this case, would you rather that lieutenant fight the guy? Well, because the guy was clearly fighting.
Nobody threw a punch. Nobody threw a punch.
And you have to, that's not fighting?
He stuck his hands out.
Refusing to get on your ground after you're under, and it's a felony to run in a motor vehicle. And why is it, and why do we heighten our approach when we approach somebody who just ran from us rather than a traffic stop? Because people will go to prison to get out of a felony. That's why we heighten our approach. We are more aggressive, are we not?
I'm just not convinced that the guy knew the officer was behind him to pull him over.
Well, maybe you should go represent him then. Didn't you see his face?
Well, yeah. When
innocent as a kitten right here, buddy.
Well, look, I mean, I believe that's debatable. It's debatable.
Sure.
Whether he actually had actual knowledge that the officer was trying to pull him over.
Yeah, and a court of law is here. No, he knew it.
Okay.
He's gone. Done.
Okay, well,
anyway.
At the same time.
He did. Look at his stupid face.
I mean, but there are so many homeless people that we arrested downtown who did the exact same thing, and we just walked up and handcuffed them.
Yeah, we didn't have a taser, did we?
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
but a lot of times you'd get them into handcuffs without putting them on the ground. A lot of times we did that.
How many times did we do that after somebody ran from us? They'd be running on foot, of course. 0 times. We always put, whether they stopped and the one guy, I give up. Pow! Like 6 officers hit him. He turned around, I give up. He stopped after he saw the officers coming from on the other parking lot, but we tackled him anyway because you're heightened. You are running, somebody's running from you. You can't help it.
Right.
Okay. And the officers weren't excessive force. As soon as they got him in cuffs, they stopped. They stopped any kind of force whatsoever.
Yeah.
Okay. But this guy got tased because he would not listen and get on the ground. And it's an intermediate weapon, like it or not.
Okay. Right. And just one other thing I think they need to do in all police academies is line up every cadet and punch them in the face at least one time, just one time. So you can learn that you can take it, because I think there's a lot of people out there who think they can't take a punch to the face until you get punched in the face, but you should know what it's like, right? So that you're not completely blown away by it. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay. Back on planet Earth.
You got to understand what I mean here.
Let's wrap it up. We're running long.
Okay.
Well, for us arguing when you're wrong, totally.
Okay.
Kicked his ass. He knows it.
All right. We read the comments below on every video.
And tell us what you think.
Yeah.
Tell us how wrong you think Tom is on this one.
Should cadets be punched in the face? All right. Thank you. We'll see you in the next video.